Hey, Tara Strong here, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Today on Weekend at the Movies, we'll be discussing who's coming back for the next Bourne movie, who's not coming back for the next Magic Mike film, what Dan Aykroyd wants for the future of the Ghostbusters franchise, and we'll take our third crack at some movie games. All that and more on Weekend at the Movies. Thanks for sticking with us as we do every week. We will start our Weekend at the Movies escapade at the box office from this past weekend. Actually, a trio of new films took the top three spots. It's been a while since that has been a situation. Maze Runner coming in at number one with $32.5 million, which had a budget of 34, so I guess that's a successful first weekend. A Walk Amongst the Tombstones coming in second with $13 million, and This Is Where I Leave You, the comedy, coming in at third with 11, just under $12 million. Rounding up the top five was No Good Deed and Dolphin Tale 2, with Guardians of the Galaxy falling out of the top five into the number 6 spot with just $5 million, which puts it at $313 million for the year. Which obviously is the number one spot. So an interesting situation we haven't had for a while, but the top five consists completely of movies that are in their first week or second week. So no holdovers breaking into the top five. Nothing really huge to say. The November Man fell from 8 to out of the top 15. Most other things stayed as you would think they would. Those top five from last week were all in the top 8 this week. So nothing huge, nothing really hitting major milestones or anything like that. Anything that you guys saw of note from the box office?
Nah.
And the top 5 for the year is going to stand as it was the last time we recorded. Guardians of the Galaxy will be number 1. Everything else will be in the same order because nothing that we're dealing with right now is approaching any 200 million or anything like that. Turtles is the closest at 185. But that's not even going to hit 200. So the top 5 for the year will stay as it is until a couple weeks from now when Hunger Games comes out. And then we'll have another competitor for the yearly crown. Getting into some of the headlines for Weekend at the Movies this week, let's start with the comic books here. Confirmation here that Deadpool has a date, and that date will be 2016, specifically February of 2016, which is a interesting time for that type of film to come out. Most of the comic book films traditionally stay in the summer. Recently, there's been a spring movement where you get some more in like the March and April time, or you get that late, holiday season one. So coming out in February, it's not going to have much competition, I'm assuming, but we're talking 2 years from now, so who knows what's going to happen between now and then. Ryan Reynolds to star as Deadpool. I'm sure we've talked about it a little bit before, but as it kind of gets confirmed here that we are getting a Deadpool movie, it is coming in 2016, and Ryan Reynolds is the star. What are your thoughts on that, Nate?
Is this going to be... Which continuity is this in? Is this in
post
Wolverine?
First Class?
Okay, so this is in the X-Men stuff.
Post Days of Future Past, rather.
Right.
Where
So
they
I was...
set the universe.
Right, exactly. Oh, yeah, I forgot they totally retconned their entire universe, so now they can do whatever they want and get rid of all their bad movies.
Yeah, and hopefully not make bad ones again.
Yeah, hopefully.
Make up for those few that didn't quite hit the mark there. Matt, good, bad, ugly that Ryan Reynolds and Deadpool are happening in 2016?
I think my opinions on Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool were the same as my opinions as what's his name, Julian McMahon as Darth Vader. God, as Doctor Doom. Like everything he said going into the movie was like, oh, that's very good. And he looks like he can do the part. He sounds like he can do the part, and he sounds like he's interested in the character before he was picked for the movie. And then the movie was just showing him not doing it well. So fingers crossed that it's all script, and then this next one, Ryan Reynolds does a great job because I think he's perfect for the role.
Well, did you see Wolverine Origins?
No.
They made Deadpool not speak.
Yeah, it was like he was annoying to one other guy, so like he sewed his mouth shut or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't see it, but it's like I did not see it because I know a lot of people that did, and I
I
watched
see.
a guy play through the entire video game,
Wait, the Deadpool game or the Wolverine?
the Wolverine Origins movie video game.
Oh, okay. The Deadpool game's really good.
Oh,
They
yeah?
get Deadpool. Yeah, they get Deadpool right on that game.
Cool.
Also, as far as 2016 releases, we have a date now for Doctor Strange, which will be, I guess, a little more traditional. And instead of going against Deadpool in February, it'll be a July of 2016 release. So that will be a middle of the summer release, Doctor Strange. But unlike Deadpool, we do not have a name that has been confirmed to play the main character, although we have in recent weeks talked about the rumors of Joaquin Phoenix, Benedict Cumberbatch, Jack Houston. They've all been linked, nothing official. So we'll have Deadpool in the spring. We'll have Doctor Strange in the summer. How's 2016 shaping up, Matt?
Well, if you get through all of the news today, it looks like it's gonna have a bunch of movies because like it feels like all of the news is 2016 news, which is great. I want to know about those things that are happening 2 years from now. I don't. I don't know. It's hard for me to get excited
We're
this
gonna cue
early.
the cricket, but it's kind of interesting because about this time last year, everybody was freaking out about 2015. And everyone was going crazy about all the different things that are going to be released in 2015. It's going to be the biggest year ever, blah, 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 blah. And they were completely bypassing 2014, which had quite a bit big named films coming out. I mean, this year we had stuff like Turtles, stuff like Transformers, stuff like obviously Spider-Man, X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy. So we had quite a bit of stuff coming out this year that everybody was just kind of bypassing and all getting their panties in a bundle for 2015. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised if people start doing the same thing for 2016 now. I mean, let's just face it, every year is going to have a whole bunch of films coming out. Comic book movies are running rampant these days. Marvel, DC, they're trying to do their thing. We have the Star Wars thing about to kick into high gear. Not counting all the other different reboots, remakes, Planet of the Apes, Transformers, etc. So I mean, every year is going to have a crap ton of movies. So I don't know. I guess I'd rather wait until like the year's starting to then think about, hey, 2015 is about to start. Let's look forward to what's actually confirmed now. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to speculate and try to line things up, but most likely everything changes order and changes times and gets bumped and delayed and advanced, and you never really know until the year's kind of upon you. So whatever. I think it's cool that we're getting some different characters, getting a new attempt at Deadpool and Doctor Strange. From everything that you guys have said and everything everybody else says, seems like a cool character to have a film centered around. So I'm all for it, but I'll wait as far as my thoughts of 2016 until 2016 is coming to us. So, what about the Suicide Squad? We also had some information about the Suicide Squad coming out. Nate or Matt, whichever one of you knows more, what is this Suicide Squad?
Bye, Matt.
I've only read like 100 issues of Suicide Squad. The Suicide Squad is Task Force X. Task Force X is... So there's this giant prison, right? There's actually like 3 major prisons in the DC universe. And that's where supervillains go away permanently if they get caught and sentenced and yada yada. And Task Force X is very difficult to say. Is a government organization where they offer some of these prisoners things like getting out early or other things. I think sometimes they just offer execution. Like, we'll kill you rather than having you in here for forever. I don't know. It really depends on the squad, the writer, yada yada. But essentially, it's a bunch of supervillains that the government's using to do superhero work or government work. Like, they'll be like, we need to go and collect this artifact from the Malaysian government. Like, let's send Task Force X. And things like that. It's It's kind of like Justice League, only everyone's a villain and they kind of hate each other, and if people die, it doesn't bother the universe as much.
Gotcha. So
I don't know.
Does it make good material for a film?
I think who's doing this one? Is this Marvel Disney?
David.
Or no, this is DC, so it's Warner
Brothers. Yeah.
If they did it like as their 9th movie, like they do their Batman, or they do the Superman movie, right? And they do their Dawn of the Justice League. They do their Justice League, and then maybe give us like a Wonder Woman movie, and then like maybe an Aquaman movie, and we get a big pool of villains, and then take some of those villains, not all of those villains, and then make a movie about them. I think it'd be a great idea. But if they do 2 movies and then do in continuity villain movie, but you don't know who any of the villains are from previous things, I don't know if it's going to work as well.
And of course, the most of the excitement around the internet with the idea of a Suicide Squad project centers around the potential to have Harley Quinn on the big screen. Nate, what do you think about that?
I don't know. Harley Quinn's cool. I feel like you can't do Harley Quinn without doing the Joker, and audience, I don't know if audience would get like the Joker's girlfriend without the Joker and no Batman, so that would be kind of weird.
So they would, like Matt was saying, it would have to have some type of setup in one of these other films.
Yeah,
that kind of introduces us to the idea of the characters, maybe as a side character cameo type thing, before she would make sense for like the mass audience to see her all of a sudden in this like villain-centered film. But I know there's a lot of Harley Quinn fans out there.
Yeah.
So maybe that could, if she's included in this type of squad here, maybe it would be enough to get the interest. I don't know.
It's not even like classic Suicide Squad either. Like it's like Deadshot and Captain Boomerang are like really classic characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was, and to my knowledge, she was only in the remake of the New 52. So she's had like 18 to 20 issues tops of a franchise that's existed for probably 200 issues, maybe even more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. She's not. When I think of the Suicide Squad, I don't even think of Harley Quinn, even though she was in the most recent incarnation.
Gotcha.
Wasn't Catman on the Suicide Squad at one point?
It
or am I
wouldn't
thinking of a
surprise
different
me.
thing?
Well, you're probably thinking Catman and Deadshot, not Deadpool. Although Deadpool's kind of like a Deadshot, Deathstroke joke version. But Deadshot and Catman were part of the Secret Six, which is
Secret Six. That's the one I was thinking of.
Very similar group, but it wouldn't surprise me if Catman was on the Task Force X as well.
Yeah.
All right. Going away from comic books a little bit, I said Matthew McConaughey. I talked about Magic Mike, which obviously Matthew McConaughey was in. Magic Mike XXL apparently will not be featuring the star. Matthew McConaughey not going to be in that, and apparently the sequel is not going to feel anything like the original, which is always a great idea by the people that are in charge of that.
Well, I don't think that's bad. Like if they're like, hey, we want to make a movie. It's a sequel. It uses some of the same characters, but we're going to take it in a completely different direction. That's cool. Like I think that could work sometimes, but like because if you keep making the same movie over and over again, then it's just bad.
Right. I don't think you should make the same film, but I think it's got to have at least some type of the same feel of what type of film it's going to be. And now this one's saying it's different enough that once you see it, you'll understand why we made a sequel. It's a road trip movie. And no one will be accusing us of making the same movie twice. So I guess that fear that you just talked about should not be a factor, I guess. But we'll see. I didn't see the first one, so I can't really speak much about the idea of a sequel.
Yeah, I haven't seen either. They could have gone on the road trip in the first one. I don't even know.
Exactly. Another film that might possibly be coming back. I don't know why. But I Know What You Did Last Summer apparently is having some talks about being redone, rebooted. The Oculus director, Mike Flanagan, apparently is going to write and produce the remake. Not sure if he's going to be directing, but also a film that could possibly be coming out in 2016. I don't know if we're in a place that, I mean, the 90s and early 2000s, we did have a lot of that with I Know What You Did Last Summers and the Screams and the, you know, those types of films. And it seemed like they had a good audience and they did pretty decent. I mean, Scream, is that what's saying? Brought about 125 million in there. So, I mean, they had their place. I don't know if there's still an audience for that type of stuff. It seems like these days it's much more of a different style of horror film that's popular. I don't know if today's audience will take these as easily. I don't know if it's the campiness factor or the cheesiness factor of some of these films, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do movies like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer still have a shot with being successful today?
I'm not gonna claim to be a horror movie analyst,
That's
but
true.
I have more respect for movies like Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like slashers, I respect a lot more than, say, Human Centipede.
Right. I agree with you on that one.
Or even the creepy webcam,
Creepy
Yeah.
webcam.
Paranormal Activity. That's
But I guess my point is I don't know if today's audience has been trained or is the type of this, because it usually appeals more to the teen slash 20-year-old younger 20s, this type of genre, and I don't know if they've been brainwashed with things like Saw and Paranormal Activity and Conjuring and that type of horror film. Do they take something like Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer serious, even though I would much rather watch Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer than any of the ones I just mentioned? I don't know. Like, I'm a terrible person to try to analyze horror movies as well. Nate, you like horror films more than the two of us. What do you think?
I have actually never seen I Know What You Did Last Summer. I've seen bits and pieces of it, like on TV, but no, I don't know too much about it. I think what you're trying to say is basically like it's a different. It's more. I mean, the premise of I Know What You Did Last Summer, isn't that more of like a suspense film? Like they're worried they're gonna get caught. Like the whole movie.
Well, I mean, it's basically they accidentally kill somebody, and try to cover it up, and then all of a sudden they're getting threats and stalked by a killer that's saying
Okay.
they know what
Okay.
happened, etc., and then that's trying to figure out who it is and is it one of them? Is it somebody else? Who's the killer? That type of thing.
Right. Yeah, I mean that they could do that in a modern way. They'd probably strip out most of the campiness because modern movies do that nowadays. But I don't know. I don't have too much of an opinion on it. I'm not looking forward to it. Definitely, I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard for me to stomach. I Know What You Did Last Summer remake without Jennifer Love Hewitt, but
Well, you
whatever.
just love her so much.
I mean, it's in her name, so anyway. Last thing, as far as headlines go, Dan Aykroyd article this week about him discussing the plans for the Ghostbusters franchise as we move forward, saying that there could be more potential than just a sequel. Quote from him: "It's beyond just another sequel, a prequel, another TV show. I'm thinking, what does the whole brand mean to Sony? What does Pixar and Star Wars mean to Disney? What does Marvel mean to Fox?" Um, uh, I don't know. That's some interesting things to compare the Ghostbusters franchise to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it carries that much weight.
No, man. If he was doing Ghostbusters now, when he saw what Marvel did and Disney did with the Marvel movies, then there would be other things, and you wouldn't even know.
I mean, I'm sure Avengers probably owes some things to Ghostbusters that wouldn't have been done without Ghostbusters being there.
Well, I mean, essentially, Avengers is a paranormal comedy, right?
Yeah, I mean, ghosts and stuff from a different dimension. So yeah, I mean, I guess there is a Ghostbusters following. There is a fan base there. I know a lot of people have been wanting a third Ghostbusters film for a long time, but I don't know necessarily if it's what he thinks it might be.
I think he was talking about having an all-female. Did we talk about this already?
We discussed some instances of whether there would be a Ghostbuster film or not here and there, because it seems like it's a rumor that comes up about every 4 to 6 months.
Yeah.
And who would do it and who would not do it. And there was long talks of, Bill Murray and wouldn't do it unless he was killed in the first scene. then he would do it, then he wouldn't do it. Then obviously we had whatchamacallit die this past year.
Oh yeah.
Who was that?
Egon.
Yeah, Egon, Harold Ramis.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's been put up there multiple times. I know at one point it was going to be an all young, like it was going to be just a couple of the older guys introducing a new younger cast of Ghostbusters. But you're saying there was also a rumor of it being a completely female cast.
Yeah. He said something like, I don't even know who the female comedians of the day are now. Jeez. The people from SNL.
I can see the chick from Flight of the Conchords. She's pretty
Kristen
popular
Stahl?
now.
Christian Shaw, yeah.
She's cool.
She's pretty popular these days.
Yeah.
And then of course it would have to have whatchamacallit? Melissa
Kevin
McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think he actually mentioned that in the article I read.
I don't know. I mean, let's just get crazy, I guess. If we're going to do Ghostbusters, let's just go crazy.
Well, I think he said Kristen Wiig, too.
I could see that, and I'm sure Tina Fey and Amy Poehler and the rest of the Saturday Night
Oh,
Live
I love
crew would be
Tina
there.
Fey. She's
Well,
my favorite.
You always say that.
just have
I
like a
love
league
Tina
of
Fey.
Ghostbusters. We don't need just like a group. We can just have like a gang of Ghostbusters.
More
I don't
like
know.
ghost murder at that point.
Ghostface Killer.
Ghostbuster University. I don't know. I mean, I'm all for Ghostbusters having a third film, I guess, and seeing what they do with it, but I don't think it's going to be meaning that much to Sony.
No, dude. You don't even know.
I guess
I don't know.
don't.
I hear those comments by him, and part of me wants to be like, this is a joke, right? Like
He's making fun of Wesley Snipes, right?
Yeah, he's doing a thing here, right?
Right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Like I said, I'm not going to put anything in any type of Ghostbusters rumor until I see it, like a trailer for the film
Right.
from a legitimate company. Um, speaking of Jack Houston, which I said was one of the people that were rumored for the Doctor Strange role, apparently he has landed a role which would be the star in the Ben-Hur remake alongside Morgan Freeman. So Ben-Hur, Morgan Freeman, Jack Houston. I don't think any of us has really seen Ben-Hur.
Nope.
So
No,
it's
I haven't.
hard to comment too much on this. I don't know. That seems to me, just on the surface value, to be a film that shouldn't necessarily be done again. But I don't know.
Watch what you say.
Well, I mean, I get why certain films are redone. Like, you know, if it's like a series, or if it was multiple movies in the past, that obviously makes sense. Like, you know, you had 2 or 3 Terminators, or you had 2 or 3 Die Hards. So yeah, every time a new one comes out, it's like, okay, that makes sense. Or if you have something that's going to be redone, like a King Kong or a Godzilla, because obviously special effects have updated and advanced, etc. So a lot of that stuff makes sense. But like, if they were like, hey, we're going to make a remake of Casablanca, you're like, really? That doesn't seem interesting or right. Like a remake of Gone with the Wind. I don't think people are going to eat that up. Maybe Ben-Hur's not in that group, but that's kind of how I always have viewed it. And of course, it's also being scheduled for a 2016 release, February, to go against the first movie. Deadpool. Why can I never think of Deadpool? Because there's too many characters named like Deadpool, and what was the other one?
Deadshot.
And Daredevil and Deathstroke, and I'm getting them all confused. Destro from G.I. Joe. Well, I don't know. Any opinions on Ben-Hur that we didn't already talk about a couple weeks ago?
No, I hope it's a good movie, and I need to see the first one. So you know, it's good that it's in the headlines because it's making me think about the older one and making me want to actually watch it now.
True. Maybe it'll get more people like us to watch the first one. Another casting news here. King Kong prequel, which I believe is going to be called Skull Island, now has a main star, which will be Tom Hiddleston.
Dun, dun, dun.
A lot of Tom Hiddleston fans out there.
A lot.
Unfortunately, the new film, the King Kong prequel, will be scripted by Max Bornstein, who did the script for Godzilla.
I don't know if that's a terrible idea. Two points. One, while he's doing that, he probably can't do Godzilla 2, so there's that. And two, I don't know, man. Like I'm kind of here. I'm kind of interested to see what he does. Like I can write monster movies that don't have monster in it. It's like good. We're going to an island full of monsters. Oh, can't wait to see what I don't do in that one. But maybe he'll do a good job. I don't know. I don't have any. I don't know what my words are anymore. I don't have any reservations about whatever this movie's gonna be, and I'll probably want to go see it.
I mean, I have never seen any of the King Kong films.
Oh, you didn't see the Jack Black one?
No,
so dude. I went and saw that movie specifically because Jack Black was in it.
So I guess I have a lot of stuff to watch in order to see a prequel of King Kong. It's just never been something that interests me a huge time. And then Godzilla this last year has even more soured me on the whole thing. So I got to get re-interested and excited maybe for this type of thing. I don't know. But Tom Hiddleston might be enough to get me interested. He's cool. I like him. I'll jump on the bandwagon, I guess. Anybody have a guess for when this King Kong prequel is going to come out?
2016?
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Holy crap.
November 2016. Start freaking out, guys. 2016. A year like no other. Let's not forget about 2015, though. So that's happening. And also in casting news, a lot of people have been talking about this every time new rumors come out about the Bourne Identity series and why Matt Damon's not involved or if he's ever going to be in another film. And a lot of people kind of jumped ship on the first film, which didn't include him. But apparently, according to an article that came out this week, we will be getting Matt Damon to reappear in one of the Bourne films. Nate, have you seen any of the Bourne Identity, Bourne's Ultimatum, Supremacy, etc.?
I have not.
You're an evil, evil person.
I'm sorry.
Just kidding. Matt, have you seen any of them?
I saw the very first one right when it hit DVD, and I liked it. I don't remember it very well, and I don't know why I haven't seen anyone since.
They're pretty good films. If you like that genre of films, they're probably near the top as far as modern films in that genre. I really enjoy them. There's definitely a level of intelligence to the script and to following things, and it's easy to miss things and see them on a rewatch, etc. And I think people will be excited to see Damon back in that role. Now, when he departed for the fourth film, there was immediately rumors that they weren't necessarily doing away with the character, and they weren't like rebooting the film series. They mentioned Matt Damon's character in the last Bourne film. They reference him. He's a part of the storyline, so he definitely still existed. And the thought was always that he would be coming back, and that there might be some type of interaction between Matt Damon and the star from the previous Bourne film, and that they would interact and kind of bring it full circle. So, I mean, the idea's been there since the get-go, so it's not necessarily a surprise. I'm just glad that they're getting to it and bringing him back into the franchise, because it's definitely a franchise that's worth watching. And anybody that hasn't seen any of the Bourne films, I would suggest at least watching the first one. If you like that, then you got 2 or 3 more films that you're going to like, because they're all very similar. So I'm all for this, and I'm all for him returning to see how it goes. Nate, are you going to watch any of them before this?
Sure, definitely.
Excellent. All right. As far as delays go or changes in dates, Fantastic Four being delayed until August of 2015. And there is obviously somewhat of a domino effect there. Assassin's Creed has been pulled from Fox's lineup altogether, with a to be determined now in place of an official release date.
Oh no.
So Assassin's Creed on the back burner, I guess. Fantastic Four delayed until late in 2015. It was initially supposed to come in June. It's only being moved back a couple months, but interesting to see what might be going on with those two films. Is it just moving to August because of the success that Guardians of the Galaxy had this year in August, or what exactly is going on? Is there any type of problems in shooting? Apparently there is some type of problem with Assassin's Creed, unless they're just trying to save that for a different date. I don't ever really care too much about delays unless it ultimately means that the film doesn't get made or becomes a train wreck. But if it's just being delayed for strategic purposes or to get a better rewrite of the script or something, then I'm all for it. Whatever. I don't care when it comes out. We got a lot of stuff coming out in 2015 and 2016, so no biggie, right?
Yeah. Is there any examples of movies that were rushed out because they had to get it out and the fans demanded it? Like,
not necessarily because the fans demanded it, but there has been times where it's been rushed to try to get it out within a certain season or to try to get it out
right.
before holidays or something like that. And sometimes it causes friction. I know Monuments Men was supposed to come out last holiday season, and it actually got delayed until the beginning of the next year. But I've seen other instances where it's vice versa, where they just kind of are pushing stuff out to try to, get it to fill that season or that exact date.
To keep the cash flow going, right?
Right, or just for certain release dates, like like the Transformers. If they want it to come out in June or July, I'm sure they're not going to be like, oh, we need to rewrite the script and change this, that, and the other, and it's going to be delayed until August. They're not going to do that. They're going to mash some shit together and put it out when it needs to come out because it's just a cash grab anyway. So,
right.
Ooh, bird.
But I mean, there's been examples of both, and sometimes, like I said, the delays sometimes are for rewrites in the scripts. Sometimes it is more of a strategic thing where they don't want to go against something. Like we said, when
Like Star Wars.
Yeah, like when Star Wars got announced for, late 2015, a bunch of things got delayed, quote unquote, or pushed ahead or something. So there's a multitude of reasons why things move back and forth. That's why I don't ever get too wrapped up in it unless it is because of some type of problem with the film, and then that usually can cause a disaster. If there's like people butting heads or people disagreeing on what should happen. Apparently, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 was somewhat rushed to theaters.
I'll believe that.
According to Andrew Garfield, he says that most of the critique of that film, most of the negative reviews and the points that people brought up, he said would not have been brought up if the film that was actually shot was what ended up in theaters. But that instead, like the powers that be and the producers and the studio, etc., kind of did their own thing and took stuff out and rushed it out to be a certain date. And he said we missed out on a bunch of stuff that had a little more depth to it. So I mean, that's a kind of an instance where the ones that are paying the bills want it to come out at a certain time, and they don't really care too much about the story.
Yeah.
So. Getting into trailer talk, we had a bunch of different things coming out. Oh, go ahead.
I have a news article
perfect.
that I'm bringing to the table. Matt, I read on theescapist.com that Aquaman is gonna look like a surfer dude.
Is it real? That's what Aquaman should look like, kinda.
Yeah.
Is it still? Is it still gonna be Momoa, or did they recast that and I forgot?
I'm pretty sure it's still Momoa. But how do you? But I mean, it's just a rumor and whatever. But I mean, it'd be funny if he's like, "Dude, what's up? I got these."
Well, wait,
fish.
look like or act like? Because he should look like one. He should have that sandy hair and that like beach body, But sound like one is different.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
They're probably not going to make him sound like one because Warner Brothers is 100% anti-fun and anti-humor.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I don't know. It's just a stupid rumor that I saw. I wanted to bring up.
Good news.
I hope that's not a thing. Obviously, there's been a lot of trailers over the last 5 to 10 days. We're kind of getting back into a season now, starting about this time, usually the end of September into October, where we start getting some trailers for more
Oscar
films.
grabs.
Yeah, more Oscar grabs, more serious films, as far as, not just the summer blockbuster type stuff that we got earlier, and then you kind of go through a period where you get a whole bunch of trailers of nothing that's going to make a lot of money. Not saying that they're not good films, but now we're getting back to the point where it's some of those that have some acclaim, whether it be festivals they were released at, or just like you said, Oscar grabs, that type of stuff. So we have all kinds of different trailers hitting in the last 10 days, starring people like Jessica Chastain, Dakota Fanning, Amy Adams, Nicole Kidman, Tommy Lee Jones, Christopher Plummer. I mean, we got some big names involved in these trailers that are coming out, which is, we don't usually have this many big names earlier on in the year. Anything that stood out to you guys as far as some of the different things that you watched for this week? Nate?
Yeah, definitely. The one that won this week was The Homesman. It's the one with Tommy Lee Jones, and he's in a Western, and he's transporting ladies through the Westernness of it all.
It doesn't have the regular Western cues though.
Well, I mean, there's bandits and Indians or Native Americans and I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a Western setting, definitely. Like, no argument. It just doesn't. The first thing I would use to describe that movie is not the word Western.
Okay, why?
Because there's not bandits and shooting and there's not. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a Western to me.
It really feels like a Western to me though. Okay. I don't understand.
I don't know. I feel like that movie could be taken entirely out of its setting. It could be removed from the American West of the 19th century, and it wouldn't lose anything or much.
Oh. Well, I don't know. They want to be attacked by Native Americans.
Well, there are hazards on roads everywhere. It's not Anyway, keep going.
I don't know. It looks really good.
I watch anything that's set in any type of Western setting, whether it be more classic Western or whatever, some other take on it. I just love that setting in general for a film, so I'll watch anything in that and give it a shot and judge it later. But I'm with you, Nate. What else did you see that looked interesting to you?
I'm looking through my list right now. Oh, John Wick. The Keanu Reeves action movie. That looks cool. I don't know.
I could not help myself but laugh when they're all like, "Are you back?" "Yeah, I guess I'm back." It's yeah, Keanu Reeves hasn't done a movie in a while, has he?
What else, Nate?
Oh, this wasn't on our list, but it automatically played after I watched one thing. And the first 5 seconds of the trailer was so cool that I had to mention it. The trailer for, I don't even know how to pronounce it. It's Rurouni Kenshin.
Oh yeah.
Whoa, there's gonna be a new Rurouni Kenshin movie.
Yeah, live action Japan film.
Whoa.
Yeah, it looks super cool, super kung fu fighting and magical powers and stuff.
Have you ever seen Rurouni Kenshin?
No.
Oh, it was on the TV when we were in high school.
It was on Adult Swim or something?
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I just saw it and I was like, whoa. That looks neato.
Are they going to translate it?
That's how I
see that.
It was all in Japanese. They're not dubbing it. I don't believe so.
Dang. It released in theaters 2 years ago in Japan.
Oh.
It should have English dubbing by now, you would think.
Yeah. Okay, so did you guys watch the trailer for Not Cool?
Yeah.
What'd you think of that, Matt?
I didn't think it was cool.
No? Did you get to the very end?
Which part? Where she tackles him?
No, the watermelon part.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! That was ridiculous. That trailer was interesting. The title of the thing was this movie starring these people. It's a comedy, and it was this is a rom-com. I feel like you need to put the romance part into it if it's going to be a romantic comedy.
Okay.
Because then you don't expect it to actually be funny.
Aww. Yeah, I expect a different type of humor from a movie where it's about two people falling in love and they do funny things together than, say, a comedy that's going just for laughs, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you in that one. I'm interested. Go ahead.
I wasn't too into it until that very last thing, and then that was like really funny to me. I don't know why, but what else was kind of interesting to think about is like I hope that's not the funniest thing in the whole movie. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's always my fear about comedy trailers.
Yeah.
I'm interested to get your guys' opinion on the next Tim Burton film here.
Oh, definitely.
Big ol' eyes.
Amy Adams, Big Ol' Eyes. Matt, what'd you think of that one?
That movie looked really good, but really intense.
Really? Like
Really
intense?
what? Yeah. Like, did you see maybe the last 10 seconds of the trailer where the dude's like going crazy and people are burning houses down? Like, yeah. It had intensity.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I want to see it though. It looks really good.
Yeah.
And
great.
it's a Johnny Depp, or I'm sorry, it's a Tim Burton movie without Johnny Depp.
Holy crap! It happened.
So that'll be interesting.
I'm not convinced.
You're not convinced about what?
Actually, there was one or two shots where I thought I saw Johnny Depp.
He might be a cameo just for funsies, but I don't know. That looks interesting, and it's about art, so it's cool.
Yeah, Nate loves art or something.
Ooh, yeah, and then there was another one about art, wasn't there? But it was like different. It was like old
art. It's not the same.
Art. It's not the same, man.
New
art. Effie Gray.
Yeah.
Where like they invite a bunch of artists or something.
That looks okay.
I know it's the second trailer for that film, but I am still very excited about The Judge. I think that one looks great. That one's coming out real soon. A bunch of these movies aren't coming out that far off. Some of them are right around the corner. Matt, what other ones did you see that you might think are interesting? And also, I want to get your guys' opinion on the first shots of the animated Popeye feature.
Yeah,
the animation test. The Popeye one first, Nate.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never really been a big fan of Popeye. Actually, I haven't really watched the cartoons, and I've seen the Robin Williams movie. That was funny. Sometimes
it's so weird to me because it's like I grew up watching a lot of Popeye.
Really?
And I did not know there was a Robin Williams Popeye musical until like 2 months ago.
Oh wow! It's a different type of movie. It's weird.
My parents said it was actually really good. They were they were at an okay age to see it, I guess, when it first came out.
Yeah, it's got some really bad songs.
Well, it's a 80s musical set around a 60s cartoon.
Yeah.
50s cartoon? Old cartoon.
Old.
So, movies, like I did.
All right, Yoda.
Lowdown. The one about the struggling pianist. That one looked really good. Peter Dinklage, what were you saying?
Nothing, I just wanted to say Peter Dinklage.
No,
it was weird that he's he's the leading name on the trailer and on all these things, but it's like I feel like he's not as big in the trailer.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
That wasn't a short joke.
I wrote cool soundtrack.
Oh, I bet.
That movie looks like it'll have an interesting score.
Yeah, no, I think that was one of the ones that it interested me the most out of all of them. And was that the one that had Elle Fanning in it? And I was just like, man, she looks a lot like Dakota Fanning. And it was like, with Elle Fanning. And I was like, oh, okay. There's two of them.
There it is.
Dang it.
Anything else?
What, Nate?
I got one more that I kind of want to talk about.
What's that?
Listen Up, Philip. With,
the writer.
Yeah.
Schwartzman.
He every time I see him, I'm like, is this a new is this a new Wes Anderson film?
It had that feel to it.
Yeah, but it had that, and then also a Woody Allen feel to that.
Okay.
And I don't know. It looks cool to me. I'd watch that.
Oh, you know what one was the one that I like? If I had to choose only one of these to see in theaters, if not Lowdown, it was Elsa and Fred.
With Christopher Plummer.
Yeah, the old people rom-com.
I wrote next to that, adorable.
Yeah, that is perfect.
Because it's like, ah,
Amy,
that's my that's how I feel.
My girlfriend Amy has worked at a nursing home for the last 3 or 4 years, and she talks about how adorable old people are. And I'm like, no, old people are disgusting and gross and old. But like that movie captures, I think, everything she sees in old people.
The problem with that movie, though, I'm worried about its numbers at the box office because I don't know.
That's all right. Its budget will only be like $5 million. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know, man.
Rom-coms make money though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even
Usually,
ones that are like everyone is over like 50 in the movie, because there's a certain demographic that goes sees rom-coms, you know, and I don't know if how many people over over 50 are going to actually see movies. I'm sure a lot do though.
I was gonna say my grandparents saw movies all the time.
Oh really?
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised. They like the, hey, this isn't some big action, loud, fast-paced nonsense. We'll actually go see this.
Yeah, you gotta think, man. Like, they don't have jobs.
And there's a lot of them.
They can even now more than ever.
My mom and dad are retired, and they just go do stuff, but they hate movies. I don't know. Maybe it's probably just all the old people I'm around hate movies.
You're wrong. Around the wrong old people.
Well, you know.
You gotta choose your old people more wisely.
I don't go make friends with old people. I'm sorry.
Maybe you should try.
I should. That sounds like fun.
Any other ones that stood out to you, Matt?
Not that hasn't been mentioned already.
So if you want to check out any of the ones we just talked about or take a look at some of the ones that we didn't mention, go ahead and visit our post for this episode. We'll have all of them listed. There's about 20 there that you can click on, watch, and give us your opinions on what ones you're interested or not interested in from the trailer talk this week. And then we will be right back to bring you our main attraction for this week.
By the power of Grayskull, I command the jaw bridge. Open!
Yes, that's right. We have traveled to Eternia to enter Castle Grayskull. Join Optimus Solo and TFJ and Mike as they find themselves telling tales of Eternia. We cover all things He-Man in this 45-episode-long podcast. You can find us on iTunes and www.geekcastradio.com. By the power of Grayskull, we all have the power.
Hi, this is Greg.
This is Chuck.
And this is Dan. And we are Talking in Circles.
Because the world needs another podcast, we are here as Geekcast Radio's newest edition. And as the title says, each week we get lost in conversation about a wide range of topics, including movies, comics, games, art, TV, and even occasionally sports.
We play games and discuss pivotal topics like who would win in a fight, the Kool-Aid Man or Tony the Tiger, and examine the hot-button issues of the world of geekdom.
We keep things fresh by taking timeless topics in new directions. We are simply three friends having a fun time talking about life's most fascinating foibles.
Stay connected with us every Tuesday on iTunes or at geekcastradio.com.
Ah, brave new world that has such putzes in it.
The Pull Bag is GCRN's comic book review and discussion-based podcast. Join me, your host, TFG and Mike, and the rest of the GCRN crew as we make our way through the comics we are reading. Inside the Pull Bag, you'll also find back-issue classics and origins episodes of how we got into comic reading. You can find the Pull Bag every Wednesday on iTunes and on www.geekcastradio.com. Make your great escape into comics and jump into the Pull Bag today.
Oh yes, but think of the fun.
All right, thanks for sticking with us. And it's time for our main attraction, and how we start off that section every week is we talk about what films we've seen in the last week or two, if we've on a bi-weekly schedule, which we seem to be currently on. Nate, what movies have you seen since our last recording?
Did we talk about Robin Hood last time?
No, we didn't.
Okay, well, we watched Robin Hood.
Yeah, we did.
Prince of Thieves from 1991. And I know you like this movie a lot, right?
I wouldn't say a lot.
Oh, really?
I liked this movie when I saw this originally, and it was one of those epic films that I hadn't really seen much of. I think I remember seeing it like, good Lord, I was probably like 9, 10 maybe at the most, and seeing it at a friend's house, and it had the cool epic little soundtrack that went with it, and I mean it was fun times there. But I don't know. I mean, seeing stuff nowadays, I don't know if I'd say I'm like head over heels about it.
Okay.
And then this last time we watched it, I was almost on like 99% ready to fall into a coma.
Yeah, it was a sleepy night that night.
I was pretty sleepy.
Dude, we were all falling asleep by the end of it.
So
But that's not its fault.
Yeah, I don't know if that had something to do with it, how much I wasn't into it this time.
Do you think it's the pizza's fault?
No.
I don't blame the pizza. I blame the work week.
Yeah. All right. Because I don't know. We every Friday we stock up on the carbs and then we just chill out on a couch. And I don't know. I think it's very conducive for just like drifting into sleep, But
usually not for the first movie, but if we try to do a second one, then we start to fade.
Was that the only movie that night?
No, we watched Battlestar.
No, that was
that was the only movie that night. Don't you remember us sitting around for like an hour going, "What do you want to watch, guys?"
That was the problem that night. We took so long to decide what we were.
Oh, right.
That was the one we started watching something else though. Weren't you guys watching something when I got there?
Michael Jackson music videos.
Oh yeah, that was
That's what derailed the
awesome.
night.
We watched Captain EO and Smooth Criminal. It was great.
Yeah.
Dude, Michael Jackson is a fucking king.
Was.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
so
go back to Robin Hood, Nate.
The point I wanted to make about this, I've never seen this movie before. That's the first time I've seen it.
Did you guys finish it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Morgan Freeman was awesome in it. But
Very
I was having
role for me.
Yeah. But I was having very hard time distancing this movie from Robin Hood Men in Tights. Because every time there was a scene, I was like, it's like that one part in that one movie that I liked when I was a kid, and I still do.
Did you enjoy Mr. Rickman?
Mr. Rickman? Oh, Alan Rickman! Of course! I thought you were talking about a character in the movie.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Alan Rickman is amazing in that movie. He's like hamming it up like crazy. I love it.
That's great.
Like all the like black magic stuff is fun. Black magic's fun.
That was a creepy witch too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
I really enjoyed that movie. And one thing I want to say, I don't know, maybe this is weird to me, but like rape was a common theme in that movie, and I feel like it's a thing that happens enough that we should be addressing it in the real world and in the like in the real world as well as the media. Like, I feel like it's a thing that we just kind of just ignore, or it becomes a huge thing like Maleficent. But I think it's a thing that happens and it needs to be, I don't know, the fact that it's not in movies ever, like, almost bothers me more than if it were in every movie.
Yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there. And I think it's something that it's easy to try to brush aside so you don't have to think about it and like deal with it. And then there's the other times where, like you said, it's just like hammered at you and kind of, I don't know, I think it's hard with a subject like that because so many people don't want to think about it.
Yeah, I get it's hard to have comedy and something that deep in it in the same movie, and it's like, how can I be entertained if it's got people being hurt and stuff like that? But like, I don't know, I feel like it's like that movie did it well enough. It had comedy elements as well as that, so I don't know.
What are your guys' overall thoughts though of the film? Like, after you watched it, even though you were somewhat tired and a sleepy night or whatever, Nate, what did you feel overall?
I don't know. Like, it was okay. Like, it wasn't. Like, I don't know. Did it do really well when it first came out?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
Nate's upset with success.
I saw it, and I'm glad that I saw it. But that's it. Like, I don't know.
Matt?
It's never. It's not something I want to own or anything.
I think I can say that I wouldn't want to own it, but I also liked it a lot. Like, a lot. I remember one day years ago, I was like sitting at home, like, I'm bored. I kind of want to see if there's any fantasy movies. And I picked up my TV remote and I was flipping through the channels. So the guide, because we had the cable with the box. And I saw Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I was like, Robin Hood, that's fantasy. And I put that on, and like I got like, I don't know, like 10 minutes into it before they started singing or doing something that was just unbelievable and ridiculous, and immediately was just turned off. Like, this is not what I want.
Wait.
And I didn't know it was a comedy at all. I was sitting down in a serious fantasy movie, and I was like, Robin Hood, yeah.
It was called Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah, I just kind of ignored that. I was probably 12. And I think if this movie had been the one I'd fallen into, I would have probably fallen in love with it. It might have been one of those ones I held dear for years. I feel like it does a lot of things I want a fantasy classic movie to do. Well, you know, besides having fantasy elements, because it doesn't have a whole lot of, you know, magic or anything. Right. But, like, I enjoyed it, and I'm happy with it.
Yeah, and I think, too, I don't know, like I said, maybe it was me watching it in the moment when I'm a 9 or 10-year-old kid, and Kevin Costner was in his prime, and he was the go-to guy in Hollywood, and like so I bought him in that role because of that, maybe more than you might now.
Yeah, I don't buy him in that role at all.
I don't think you like Kevin Costner in general.
I don't.
That's too bad.
He did Jack Frost, and I'll never forgive him for that.
Geez. I'll show you some good Kevin Costner films.
I haven't seen either of the Jack Frost movies, but I want to see. Like, that's the one where he was like an old like rock star, right?
Yeah.
And it's unbuyable because he's like a 40-year-old rock star. Like, I want to see that just because of the things that fantasy fiction said about it.
Have either of you guys seen I think it was 2012 Robin Hood film starring Russell Crowe?
2010, and I want to.
Because I saw that in the theater, and I felt similar to that film, but a lot of people panned it. But I'd be interested, since we just watched Men and Thieves, to see the Russell Crowe film and see if you guys liked it better or worse.
Men and Thieves?
What did I just say? Prince of Thieves. Good Lord.
Men and Thieves.
Men and Thieves. But to see how you guys think it compares or doesn't compare to that film would be interesting. What else did you guys see in the last 10 days?
Well, Friday, we watched the original Battlestar Galactica.
Dun, dun, dun. Which was clearly multiple episodes.
It's very clearly like a pilot and then episode 2 of the old 1970s TV show.
I liked the first third and the last third of that film quite a bit.
The middle third did drag a little bit.
Yeah, Space Vegas was kind of too much to take after a while.
Like, it had great ideas, but yeah, it definitely felt like, well, if this was a half an hour TV show instead of an hour TV show, this would be a more enjoyable episode.
I do think it served its purpose. It was a good starting off point for that series and a good way to get people interested in it, and it set a bunch of stuff up. I just think, you know, from a pacing standpoint, if you were looking at it as one entity and as one movie, it seemed a little disjointed. But if you're watching that as probably as 3 separate episodes, you probably wouldn't get that effect or get that feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Nate, what did you think of Battlestar?
I thought it was okay, and I thought it was really fun to like find the similarities between Star Wars and Battlestar.
There are a lot.
There are a whole lot.
Especially them ships.
Very inspired by Star Wars, which, you know, paved the way for it to show up.
Right.
Oh, and then before that one, we watched
we watched 45 minutes of a hour and a half movie.
That felt like most of it.
We watched half of it.
Yeah, Bloods versus Wolves.
Billy.
It was. I bought it for $2 at the local used DVD shop, and it was gangland violence. But instead of just being regular gang members, half of them were vampires and half of them were werewolves.
And I will say that is not the best $2 you've ever spent.
No. I have bought $1 movies that got me a lot further.
That was an awful thing.
It was I am against stopping movies 90% of the time, and we hit that 10% very hard.
That was not, I've been in situations where we're watching stuff in groups, maybe not us particularly, but sometimes it has probably been, or with other groups. Well, you might have one or two of the group that wants to stop it, or you'll have one or two of the group that really wants to keep going. It's not usually like a look around the room unanimous stop.
Well, I was pushing for it for a while, and Matt was like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It was eventual unanimous.
Like, there was a couple cool things that happened. I don't
remember
any of them.
There were a number of funny things that happened.
Well, yeah. I mean, with that kind of movie, that's all you can hope for.
Yeah, but we've seen bad movies that we still can watch to the end.
Oh,
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah, so I mean, if it's a bad movie and we can't watch it to the end, that's not a recommendation for anybody to ever attempt.
Here's something for you guys if you're like, well, I don't know if I believe them because vampire werewolf gang fight sounds right up my alley. Here are two things that will sell it you or not. One, I think the funniest scene in the whole movie was during the opening credit sequence when a car drives by and one of these gang members, right, and he looks like a standard gang thug of the current age, right? With his fucking, like, I don't know, sagging and shit. And, like, a car drives by him. He's, like, leaning up against the fence all looking all cool, like, yeah, thug life. And then a car drives by and he goes, woof, 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 woof. And it's like, whoa, what?
Because he's a doggy.
Because he's a werewolf and he has to bark at cars when they drive by and look like a dumbass. That was the funniest thing in this whole movie, as far as we got. The dumbest or worst thing in this movie, actually, a tie. I'm going to do three things. One was when this guy, like, literally there was a scene. Like, it was like the nighttime ended, fade to black, rise up, new day. Guy runs out of the bedroom, looks around, grabs a newspaper, drops it on the ground, drops trow, and takes a dump. Cut to next scene at the vampire's house.
Well, that doesn't do that justice. It wasn't just the inkling that he was taking a dump. It was straight up graphic. Here's dump falling out onto the thing.
Like, they don't show.
The camera was between his legs, and
right.
You could see poo-like substance falling from between his legs, like full on.
But that's beyond the point. The point is there was a poop scene. Like, there was a scene dedicated for him to poop.
Yeah, that was the only purpose that scene served, was people poo.
But it's like he wasn't even a werewolf at the time.
No, he was
just a guy.
Regular dude doing regular dude deuce onto some newspaper.
So bad.
Like, he's a wolf. They need to poop. They're house trained apparently. Like, they can use they have thumbs.
They have phones that they can use just well. I don't know why
What?
they're not using their indoor plumbing.
Right. What?
The second other really dumb thing that happens a bunch is there's a lot of scenes with a lot of gun violence because they're gangs, which is kind of weird. I mean, they're werewolves and vampires. Why even bother with the guns? But like, it's literally like bullets are flying, hundreds, thousands of shots. And it's like one guy will get hit, and there'll be zero gun holes anywhere, and that's it. Like,
there's no like flying blood, and it's the most like
zero effects.
They made the guns go bang bang in After Effects, and then like didn't even bother with like any sort of physical effects at all.
Nope,
it's so bad,
really bad.
What else did you see, Nate?
I saw American Psycho again. Rewatched that with my fiance. That was cool.
Your fiance fell asleep during that.
She fell asleep the first time, and then we picked it up again like a couple days later and finished it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you're a fan of that one?
I am. And have I talked to you? Like, have you seen this recently enough to talk about it?
No.
Okay. Have you seen this, Matt?
Nope.
Man, okay. Well, it has this really, like, interesting ending that I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. I can't really talk about it because you guys don't... I want like you guys should definitely see this movie.
I mean, I've seen it. I just saw it like back in college, and it's just I would need to refresh myself on it.
Yeah.
I remember enjoying it. I remember ranking it pretty high. I just don't remember the ins and outs of it without rewatching it.
It's a good movie. And then other than that, I watched. Last night I fell asleep to Rosemary's Baby because my friend John, he wanted to watch a scary movie because he's super pumped about scary stuff because he saw gameplay footage of this new video game called PT, which is a demo. It stands for Playable Teaser, and it's a demo for the new Silent Hill game that's going to be coming out. And Matt, do you know anything about this?
I know nothing about that other than I know John loves Silent Hill.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he and I have talked about the old ones a bunch. Well, not a bunch, but enough. He's really down with Pyramid Head.
Well, we watched this gameplay trailer, basically, and we watched like literally like 35 minutes of people going through this game, and it's like they have really really well done scares in it that are more than just like jump scares like ooga booga booga, but it was super super scary. So we're like, he really wanted to watch a scary movie. We watched Rosemary's Baby. I fell asleep like 15 minutes into it, and then I woke up and he was like, it was a bad movie.
Wow.
So
isn't that like a classic movie?
yeah, like it's who is it? Coppola.
Ford Coppola.
Francis Ford. Yeah, there you go.
That
Francis
guy.
Ford Coppola. That guy. So I mean, it was probably really good when it first came out. I don't know. I fell asleep, so I can't tell you if it was scary. Like, from the premise, like, from what he was explaining to me, it sounds like she has a demon baby, and that's it. Like, that's the movie. So, I don't know. And everyone's a witch. But, you know, it was probably scary when it first came out, but, you know.
And you watched the original, not the remake from this year, right?
Yeah, the original. From like the 70s?
68.
68, yeah.
Roman Polanski.
There you go. That's even better. I don't know. So I fell asleep during that. Didn't watch it. Can't really say I watched it. Whatever.
You did, though.
I fell asleep. The other ones that I did watch, and I was awake the whole time. We watched Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Okay.
And Cool Runnings.
Oh, excellent.
It was amazing. I went to Chipotle in between movies. Like we watched Bill and Ted's, and then we went to go get Chipotle. And the guy at the counter was like, "What are you guys doing tonight?" And I was like, We're gonna go home and watch Cool Runnings." And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds awesome." And I was like, "Yeah, we just finished Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure." And he was like, "You guys sound like you're having fun." And I was like, "Yeah, we are." I don't do drugs, I swear. I don't know. It was this really weird moment I had with the Chipotle guy. But no, totally awesome movies. I had a really big hankering to see Bill and Ted like 3 weeks ago, and to my knowledge, it wasn't on Netflix, and then it just appeared on Netflix, and I was like, "This is what's happening right now." And we just rode that train straight through to Cool Runnings.
Should have said we rode that bobsled.
Yeah.
I've never had a need to watch Bill and Ted. Like, it's nothing against it. Like, it's a great movie, you know, from my childhood. I loved it when I was a little kid, but I've never hankered for it, you know?
I've never had a hankering to rewatch that or Wayne's World.
Nah, Bill and Ted is way better than Wayne's World.
I wouldn't mind rewatching Wayne's World. It's been a while.
But I've also never had a desire to rewatch any of the Austin Power films.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that at all.
Yeah.
Is that it for films you saw in the last 10 days, Nate?
Yep.
All right, Matt, see anything?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I saw
What?
a bunch of movies.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
You don't even know how many movies I saw. It was like as many as Nate or more.
What?
Check it. So
Check it.
Yesterday, so I got this group of friends. I meet up. I meet up with a different group of friends every day of the weekend. And on Saturday, my guys and I, we like I said, just recently we watched every Gundam Universal Century show. And we didn't have anything to do this week. And so I was like, well, let's watch the 2 Fantastic Four movies. Because they've been really pushing for me to see the second one. I watched the first one in theaters and it was so terrible. I was like, don't need to see any more of these. I don't need to see any more of them. And then I guess along the way, they both saw the second one. We're like, the second one's a lot better. You should see it. So we watched both of them. And the first one is, I don't know, not as bad as I thought it was. I'm a little more forgiving about things being different than the main story. It's like you don't have to follow the continuity of the main thing if you do a good enough thing and are in the same spirit as the original. But you got to do those 2 things where you're good and in the spirit. It's still not very good, but it's an almost decent movie. Terrible comic book movie, terrible Fantastic Four movie, but almost decent as a movie. Then the second one, I don't know. They say things like Doom is way more doomy and everything's just better. I don't see it. Don't watch it. It's not very
What'd you
good.
feel about Galactus?
I would. He was very Godzilla-like in that he was not in this movie.
Yeah,
it was a
he was
storm
a big
cloud.
cloud of poop.
It was a storm cloud. And he was in the first 5 minutes and the last 2 minutes, and that was it.
Yep.
Hell, the Silver Surfer wasn't very much in this movie, and it was named after him.
Was it called Rise of the Silver Surfer?
Yeah.
It's always Rise, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everything's rising. Everything's
like
risen.
Apes and knights.
Man. And everything's judgments. And, I don't know. Electric Boogaloos. Anyway.
Don't edit the cricket out of this part because it's fitting.
I'm gonna.
So I watched both Fantastic Four movies, which part of me was like, man, I can't wait to see if this next version isn't this terrible, but it probably is gonna be. But then, I kind of got excited. I want to kind of see the new ones. I'm upset they got pushed back a month.
2 years from now.
Yeah, because that matters at all. And then not only did I watch those 2 movies today, all alone by myself, except for like the last hour because Amy came down and sat down. I watched Space Pirate Captain Harlock.
Oh man!
Oh, cool! I own that movie.
You own that movie?
I haven't watched it.
You own that movie?
Yeah. It's on my. Yeah.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Who bought
it? I got it at Disc Replay.
For how much?
I don't remember. It's
Wow.
probably on the package. I could go look it up.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't watched it, my suggestion is watch it.
Okay.
It's on Netflix. Everyone else, you can watch it there, like I did.
It's like
free.
Space Pirates, right?
Yeah. Kinda. It's a little bigger than Space Pirates.
I think that's why I bought it. It was like, oh,
because you love pirates.
I love pirates.
You love pirates. It is visually one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen. Like CG movies. I mean, like they did amazing CG. It is Japanese originally and dubbed in English, so the mouths are just nowhere near right. Sometimes they care about that. This time they did not at all. It was really bad. But I mean, it's beautiful to look at. The story kind of makes sense, kind of doesn't. There's some weird issues with the story, but at the same time, it's still an interesting enough story and fairly easy to follow. I don't know if people say it's not easy to follow. I think it's easy to follow. I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. But it's fun and it's great, and the action sequences are amazing, and it looks great. So I would suggest it.
I'll watch it.
Yeah?
Me too.
Me too.
Well, you two can watch it together, and we could talk about it.
Excellent.
I'll put it in the sack.
Well, it has the same problem that Bloods vs. Wolves had, though, where there's a lot of shooting, and I don't see any bullet wounds or anything. That was probably the one biggest bother about it visually, was that like everyone would like they'd get shot and they'd hold themselves, and they'd be like, I don't see, there's no blood, I didn't see any hole happening. But whatever, that's such a minor point because it moves so quickly from that, because it's, it's anime styled, so it's like the guy gets shot, it cuts immediately away to someone else getting cut.
Right. What else you see?
That's all I saw.
Well,
I watched the first 15 minutes of that one movie, Your Highness.
Oh, dear.
Whoa, really?
Is it bad?
I watched two episodes of the that reality TV show, the fantasy reality TV show, The Quest. And like after the second episode, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch anymore. It's a reality TV show. I kind of want to watch a comedy fantasy movie. And I was like, okay, so what are my choices? Your Highness and Knights of Badassia. Badassium? Something like that. Those are the only two I could think of. I happen to have a pirated version of Your Highness on my computer that a friend gave me like 3 years ago. Which is why I'm the worst pirate ever, because it's just been sitting there like, I don't know, maybe. And so I was like, I'll watch that. Then Amy woke up and was like, I don't want to watch a movie. Let's go get lunch. And so I didn't get back to it ever. But from the first 15 minutes, I don't think I was all that interested.
Okay.
Like I'll give it a second try. I don't think I'm gonna like it.
Okay.
I saw 2 films this week in the theater. Within the last 10 days, I guess. So I saw my 40th and 41st film of the year.
Dang.
Man, counting shit.
He's got us both beat.
I'm trying. The first one I saw was A Most Wanted Man, which stars Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Kevin.
What?
You don't have to try that hard.
Shut up. But yeah, Most Wanted Man with Philip Seymour Hoffman. He plays a intelligence operative or agent.
Is this the one where he's German?
Yes.
Oh, I wanted to see that.
And he's basically tracking some different things there in Hamburg, and it's him dealing with. He's kind of like an under the radar type intelligence guy that's not really known about. That he does the work that the actual agencies in those countries can't do. Keeps tabs on the people that they can't keep tabs on, as far as like officially. So he's dealing with his own country's kind of red tape and bureaucracy. He's also dealing with the representative from the United States as he tries to basically do his mission or succeed with the person he's following on and succeed with his mission type thing. But it's definitely a somewhat of a political suspense thriller type thing. He is amazing in it. So if you want to see one of Philip Seymour Hoffman's final roles in film, you should definitely check it out. I don't know if you'd enjoy it if you're not a fan of that genre of films, but I think you could probably get enjoyment just to watch his performance as that character, because I think he does a decent job. It reminded me a lot of a film I saw the year before, which was, I want to say, Closed Circuit, but better than that. So I mean, if you're into that genre, it'd be something to watch, but I wouldn't say it's the best film I saw this year, but it was decent. And then I watched The Giver with Jeff Bridges and Meryl Streep this last week as well. I feel like The Giver, although it has made its budget back, has not been what they thought it would be in the box office, and I think it's too bad because the book has been around forever, and a lot of people grew up having to read it at some point in school, even though I did not. But I think the problem is now, as there's been so many things since that book came out that copied it, or that basically told a very similar story that we've seen, that now that it's coming out in the theater, it's like I've already seen that. which is weird because obviously the book predates those other things that I would reference. For example, some films that come to mind right away, obviously Divergent is a huge film this year that would have direct correlation to the same type of story that The Giver is. Because basically you're in a society where everything's been controlled. It's like this new society that's been created where, feelings are eliminated, love's eliminated. Everybody has their place. Everybody's assigned to a job or a profession, a career, etc. They control the population as far as births go and do away with children that don't meet certain criteria. And there's one character or one person in this world who is charged with holding the memories of everything that came before in order to advise the elders and the powers that be on certain situations and how to handle certain things, since they have the memories of the past. And it deals with a certain character or a certain person at their little graduation ceremony who is chosen to be the next giver. And so he's going to be, taught by Jeff Bridges, because that is the current person who holds the memories. And it's just kind of dealing with the whole idea of breaking free from that, or is it their value in the control that they have. Also has similarities to probably Pleasantville in a way, in a different way. Obviously, Pleasantville is not a fantasy science fiction type film, but it's very similar in its main underlying meaning.
I would say Pleasantville is probably like a science fiction type film.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not saying
or maybe like fantasy, definitely.
But not like on the scale of what you would classify like The Giver or Divergent as.
Yeah, it's like a personal thing.
But it's still like a similar meaning. Like I think I would like The Giver if it was like the first time I had seen that, or if I had some type of connection to reading that book as a child. But since I didn't read it as a child, and since I've seen Pleasantville and Divergent, and there's probably like 3 or other films I could mention, it felt not new enough or unique enough for me to really latch onto it. I did enjoy it while I watched it, and Jeff Bridges is cool, and Meryl Streep's evil as always. And the guy that plays the main character, I'm not super familiar with, but he did a decent job. So, I mean, I can see people liking it, but I'm not surprised, I guess, that it's not doing as good as maybe they hoped, since it does seem like something that a lot of kids these days probably will have already seen before. And Divergent is probably something that they enjoyed more. So, but those are the 2 films that I saw this week. I don't know if I can overly recommend them or tell anybody to go watch them, but it is what it is. And based on what I said, if you like Philip Seymour Hoffman, or if you like the whole idea of Divergent and Pleasantville, then give her a shot, I guess. Or if you're a huge Jeff Bridges fan. So, anything we didn't mention as far as stuff we watched this week that I'm forgetting?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're not going to do a long, drawn-out thing here for the main attraction. There wasn't like a major film that all 3 of us saw, but I am going to introduce you guys to a movie game that's quick and easy to do. It's something that would be fun to do, I think, if you're on like a long road trip with some fellow movie buffs, or if you're just trying to kill some time, maybe. Maybe I enjoy it more than other people, but I remember someone introducing this game to me a while back. It's not really a game, so to speak. It's just kind of, I don't know. Calling it a game is just fun, I guess. But they introduced it to me, and I enjoyed it. I've never found someone else that enjoyed it as much as I did. But we're going to do this, and we're going to make Matt and Nate the guinea pigs to give you guys a way that you can kind of talk movies and have fun with it when you're trying to kill time. Basically, this is how it works. One person begins by naming a character. I'm sorry, not a character, an actor or a film. And this is how it works. So let's say, Nate, you said Kevin Costner, since we talked about him earlier. Then Matt would have to name a film that Kevin Costner is in. Then it would go back to Nate. And Nate, you would either just have to name another film that Kevin Costner's in, or you would take the film that Matt named and name a different actor that was in that film. And from that point on, you can always either name another actor. You can keep naming actors from that film until you guys run out, or you can flip to another movie from that last actor that was said. I know that sounds confusing, but give you an example here. So if Nate had said Kevin Costner and Matt said Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, then it could go back to Nate, and he could either say Field of Dreams because it's another Kevin Costner film, or he could have said Morgan Freeman because it was another actor that was in Robin Hood.
Okay.
And then the next person, since you had just said Morgan Freeman, would be able to name another Morgan Freeman film, or he could say Alan Rickman because that's another actor that appeared in Robin Hood, etc. And you go until one person can't name something, and then you can do multiple rounds of this. We're just going to do 3 quick rounds to see who's better at this, or who has some better luck. Does it make sense to either of you?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but you're gonna win, Kevin.
Oh, I'm not going to play this first round here, or this first game. This is just going to be between the two of you.
Okay.
So we're going to get a feel for the game first. We'll do a future version of this on a different date. All right, so who wants to go first? I'm going to name the actor, and who's going to go first? Matt or Nate? Matt or Nate? Matt's going to go first. All right, so I'm going to name an actor. You have to start by naming a film.
Okay.
All right, and then from that point on, Nate will be either able to name another actor that's in the film you mentioned, or he will be able to name another film by the person that I mentioned. So the one we're going to start with.
So is it a person that loses, the person that can't name anything?
It's his turn, and he can't either name another person from that film, or he can't name another film from that actor.
Okay.
All right. So the first actor we are starting with is Adam Sandler. And so, Matt, you need to name a film that Adam Sandler appears in.
50 First Dates.
So, Nate, now you need to either name another Adam Sandler film or another actor that appears in 50 First Dates.
Drew Barrymore.
Now, Matt, you have to either name another person in 50 First Dates or another Drew Barrymore film.
I'm trying to think of movies that she was in that wasn't Celine Dion.
What?
Or, not Celine Dion.
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz, thank you. Something love. I fail.
All right, first point.
Woo!
First point goes to Nate.
I stumped him.
All right, I will start with one that should be fairly easy for you guys to go for a while, probably naming films for. Well, we can see which way we go here. It's almost like a 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, but a little bit different. So, Nate, you will start this one off. The actor is Harrison Ford.
Star Wars.
Mark Hamill.
Nate?
Can we do TV?
Nope.
Can't do TV.
Just movies.
Whatever. Carrie Fisher.
Matt?
Peter Mayhew.
Nate?
That was James Earl Jones.
All right. Matt?
David Prowse.
Nate?
This isn't fair.
You're missing an
This
easy way
isn't
out.
fair. I shouldn't have said Star Wars. I don't know.
You're missing an easy way out.
I'm sure. Sam Jackson.
Warwick Davis.
Ewan McGregor.
We did not say all Star Wars films.
He won't move!
So we'd have to go back and actually disqualify you when you said Samuel L. Jackson, because he did not appear in the original Star Wars film.
You leave me be.
But, Nate, you could have been
whatever.
somewhat of a douche or just played the game, and you could have just said Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi for most of those.
For most of those.
And switched the film on him.
That makes
And
sense.
gone back and forth. So we'll give 1 point to each person so far. And we're
All right.
back to Matt starting. And Matt, you will be starting with Bruce Willis.
Die Hard.
Nate?
Alan Rickman.
Oh, was he in the first one?
Wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah. You're right. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
Nate?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Fair enough. Matt?
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Nate?
Hermione.
That's not the name of an actress, Nate.
I always forget her name. Whatever. What?
She's very beautiful.
I know. Leave me alone. Where were we at? What was the last actor I said?
We're still on Daniel Radcliffe. We've named 2 Harry Potter films.
He is okay, man. I'm gonna lose this again.
Come on.
We've named 2 Harry Potter films.
The guy that played Voldemort.
There are 11 other Harry Potter films that you could mention.
Oh, really? Am I just allowed? Fine.
You could go back to
Harry
the same
Potter and the Phoenix Order.
That's the one we've said.
That's one of the 2 we've said.
Shit! Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince.
All right.
I did it! I did it all alone myself.
Emma Watson?
That works. Nate?
I want to get off of Harry Potter, but I can't.
Name another Emma Watson film.
Might be a good way to win.
Memoirs of a Geisha. No, it's the one about the kid. Perks of Being a Wallflower. That's the one.
That works.
Woo!
Matt. Another Emma Watson film or someone else from The Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
That works. Nate.
Sam Jackson. I don't know.
You lose.
Alright, it's fine. No.
No, this is a game. Nate, you haven't won a single movie game yet.
Shut up. Is that true?
Yeah.
Dang.
Alright, that is 2 points for Matt. 1 point for Nate. And I said that was just the best out of 3, so we will cut it off there. But, like I said, it's a pretty simple concept. You can play it with your friends. You can play it on a road trip where you're trying to find something to do.
It's a good road trip game.
Maybe I enjoy it more than I should, and other people won't. But it's fun because you have certain people that have to try to avoid certain films. Because like obviously, when Matt got on Star Wars, he could probably keep naming characters from Star Wars until Nate was well outclassed in that area. So it's interesting. Or you can get on an actor that you guys can keep going back forth in films for a long time. That's why I didn't start any with Samuel L. Jackson. So anyways, play it with your friends, get back to us. Or if there's other movie games that you've played or other types of things that you've done with your friends, let us know. Tell us about it in the episode post, and we'll maybe play them ourselves or give you our thoughts on that. I'm always up for new games to play. As far as coming attractions, Blu-ray releases coming out this week. Not a whole lot of anything. The complete movie collection for Saw right in time for October, I guess. I really don't have anything else that's even worth mentioning on the Blu-ray release. Sorry, anything you guys are excited for?
I didn't see anything.
The complete anthology for The Exorcist. The complete collection for Halloween.
Hey, look, it's almost time for Halloween to happen.
So if you like Saw, Halloween, or The Exorcist, you can get complete collections of all of that stuff. As far as theater releases, I think some of you guys are going to be excited here. Coming out September 25th here, The Box Trolls.
Yeah.
And Denzel Washington in The Equalizer would be the 2 biggest named films. And then we also have The Two Faces of January coming out on the 26th. But I know the 3 of us are excited for Box Trolls coming out this week. So that'll be the next film I see probably in theaters. You guys interested in The Equalizer or The Two Faces of January at all?
It's equal. That's the Denzel Washington one. That one's kind of interesting, but I don't think I need to see it in theaters.
Yeah, I think that's one you don't necessarily want to pay too much for. You just kind of watch it when you need something to watch.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Last week, as far as credit conversation, we asked about Halloween season. Are you a fan of the Halloween season of movies? A lot of people are more into Halloween films than Matt and I. Except for TFT and Mike, he's with us. He doesn't like those either. I don't know. A lot of people like, let's see, Conjuring got some mentions that people liked. Justin Washington said Sinister was good. Some comments on Paranormal Activity and if that genre has kind of fizzled out or not. We did get some reaction to our comments about Dark Knight kind of fading away. Maybe that's just me, because some people said they didn't think it had as much as I was saying it had. But I thought that was a good conversation we had about Dark Knight and how it has affected now that we have the Marvel Universe running rampant. Anything that you guys saw in the credit conversation you wanted to bring up?
I think the most interesting comment, at least for me personally, was Film for Fun's suggestion of heist movies, which I am very interested in seeing all of those, except for The Sting. I did watch and mention. That was on the one where Kevin wasn't with us. Nate and I did it alone, I believe. Yeah. Was the time I talked about The Sting. And then Super Film Fan also suggested Sexy Beast, which is done by the guy who did Under the Skin. And I'm 100% for second chances. I always say I won't count off an author until I've read 2 of their books. And it's even easier with movies than it is with authors. So I bought Sexy Beast this weekend, and I plan to watch it soon.
All right, and I'm all for giving it a shot too. I like heist films, so I will watch those as well. Nate, anything in the credit conversation you wanted to bring up before we move on?
No, not really.
All right. As far as our question for next week, unless any of you guys have one, I'm just interested to see what kind of movie games people play out there. I know there's a bunch of movie board games and trivia games and stuff like that. Like I said, it might just be like a road trip type game like the one that we just talked about. But what kind of movie games does anyone play 7 Degrees of Kevin Bacon anymore? Or what trivia games are out there? Or what's the best movie board game out there? Or what do you guys do movie related as far as games go? I'd be interested to see, because I'd be interested in probably playing them. Anything else you guys wanted to add question-wise?
Nope.
All right. Then thanks, as always, for joining us here on Weekend at the Movies, formerly known as MWire Weekly. You can contact us in the following ways. Call the voicemail line 502-526-5821. Email us at feedback@geekcastradio.com. Go to geekcastradio.com and comment on all of the episode posts and get in on the discussion there. We usually have 10 to 20 comments there, so you can join in on that discussion. Visit the Facebook page by searching Geekcast Radio Network. TFG1 Mike will keep you updated on every podcast that gets released from the network, as well as every blog or review that's posted. Movie Revolt Dan posts a lot of good movie reviews, so if you're a fan of us on Facebook, you'll see when those hit. You can follow the network at Twitter at Geekcast Radio. Mine is at Optimus Solo. Matt, yours is
at Fridley Scent.
And Nate, yours is
at Adolfo Shabadoo.
So that is it for us. And remember, for all things movie related, tune in to Weekend at the Movies.